Life is a very funny thing. It seems to have a beginning and also an end. But the Buddha and all the enlightened masters said, there is no beginning and there is no end. It is an endless cycle of existences. Birth is followed by death, and death by rebirth, and so on and so forth. We are our parents' beloved children in this life. But we could have been their enemies in their previous lives. Enemies, friends, lovers, parents, and all these different kinds of worldly relationships take various forms as we transform ourselves from one life to the next. Every relationship is refreshed in every new rebirth, based on the ripening of our different karmic connections. Some of the main things that have not changed through the various transitions from birth to death and rebirth are: we were born and taken care of by our mothers, loved by our parents, and nourished by the world we live in. The luckier ones are also blessed by the presence of great spiritual masters who take care of their spiritual well-being and who eventually lead them to break this cycle of endless existences. The life stories of these great masters serve as an example to many of the people striving to spend their life developing their spiritual strength. We have the privilege of knowing one of them who lives in our time, continuing the duty laid before by his predecessors for centuries by teaching his followers the way to live a happy and easy life. His Holiness the 12th Gyalwang Drukpa, one of the foremost spiritual masters in our current time, was born by the holy lake of Guru Padmasambhava, the lotus-born guru in northern India, on a holy day related to this 8th century Indian guru himself. The lake is known as Tso Pema or Rewalsa. The late Kamtrul Rinpoche, who saw the infant Drukpa with his father during their short stay in Dalhousie, suspected the child to be the long-awaited reincarnation of the 11th Drukpa, who passed away 6 years ago. Before long, the child was officially recognized as the authentic reincarnation of the 11th Drukpa and taken to Darjeeling to be brought up by the late Tukse Rinpoche, the biological son of the 10th Drukpa.
I can't remember very well about what really happened and all these things. I think many of babies cannot really remember, many of us cannot remember the baby's time. And I just can sort of vaguely, I sort of can still sort of figure out what was really happened. For instance, I could still sort of remember that when they sort of put me in a sort of a towel, sort of like a blanket or something, for the first time in my life, I felt very uncomfortable. I came out in this world about 20 days earlier than it was sort of expected, and I was not very sure why. I guess it was my karma. But many of my friends who were there at the delivery time, at that time, they were lately kind of jokingly telling me that I was in a hurry to come at that sort of special day. I mean, a holy day of the Guru Padmasambhava festival day, 10th of the first month of Tibetan calendar. They were performing quite a big festival, and my father was in fact one of the dancers of the 8 manifestations of Guru Padmasambhava. Lately I came to know that my father was requested by His Holiness Dunjam Rinpoche to do so. So my father was, I guess he was very happily doing it. Something that I'm proud of, is that, that my mother wasn't sick at all, or my mother was not unwell or unhealthy. My mother was totally okay, perfectly okay. In fact, she was thinking about joining in festival. She wanted to go there and pay homage to the masters and all the communities. And also she wanted to sort of join and have a sight of it. But then all of a sudden I just came out, and I guess she couldn't sort of manage to go and pay homage. However, she had me with no problems, no headache, which is quite good, I guess. And it is a little sort of unusual, I would say. Lately I was sort of looking at those mothers who are suffering tremendously to have their baby delivered. So I'm sort of happy for that. But at the same time, I feel very sort of appreciated to my mother, especially for giving the birth to me, because without my mother, I wouldn't be here. And if I'm not here, I think, many of the things that I was really doing, not only for others, but for me and for the lineages and for the families and for everything. I mean, many of the sort of things that I'm doing are not really, wouldn't be here, wouldn't be done. And human birth is really considered to be a very, very, very precious. So that kind of a precious birth given by my mother on that special occasion, which is the 10th of the first month of Tibetan calendar. So I'm still appreciative to my mother from depth of my heart. And at the same time, I think not many people can sort of take this opportunity or have such kind of opportunity to be born nearby such a great master like His Holiness Dunjum Rinpoche. Not only in that kind of precious day, like 10th of this first month, but I think I was really fortunate that His Holiness was really there and he could really give me the blessings, and so I was very happy about it.
In fact, there were propitious omens before and during the birth of His Holiness. When he was still in his mother's womb, he was heard chanting the Buddha Amitabha's heart mantra. And then, during his birth, thunderstorms, snow, a perfect rainbow, and other signs appeared conspicuously, seemingly to welcome the birth of a great being. And then, in Varanasi, the late Pawo Rinpoche, who was also one of His Holiness's gurus, performed a smoke offering to the child. Of course, the most auspicious of all the events was the presence of His Holiness Dunchom Rinpoche, who immediately named the child Jigme Pema Wangchen, or the fearless lotus of great power. His Holiness the Gyalwang Drukpa considers this name most precious and blessed among those he has received from many different enlightened masters. When the Gyalwang Drukpa was about 3 years old, he was brought back to his monastery by the first Tukse Rinpoche, his late guru, who took care of him in terms of spiritual development and mundane needs.
I felt very, very moved by Tukse Rinpoche when he came to see me. I felt quite excited about to be going with Tukse Rinpoche. And lately my parents were telling me that, I was, 3 days or maybe 4 or 5 days before Tukse Rinpoche arrived to sort of recognize me as a reincarnation. I was sort of constantly giving them my scarf and I was repeatedly saying to them that I'm going to my place, and I will not be coming back until for a long time. And every day, constantly, I was saying this. It's kind of a goodbye to my parents. I was taken away to Darjeeling with Tukse Rinpoche. And Tukse Rinpoche was very kind, and really he became like my parents, the second parents of mine. He was very, very kind. Due to his kindnesses, I got all the important teachings of Mudras and 6 yogas of Naropas and all these things from him. I'm very proud of myself to be able to find this kind of master from early age. And as you know, that he's the son of the 10th Drukpa, I was recognized as a 12th Drukpa. So logically or theoretically, I'm his father. And I think, he feels that too. That's also one of the reasons that you really felt so close and so warm with me, because I remember him saying something about his father, and then at the end of the conversation he said, "Well, it was you anyway, weren't you?" And then I couldn't say anything. I was just smiling, that's all. I didn't know what to say. So I think he really felt that way anyway. And me too. As I said before, it's not exactly a fatherly feeling, but I had a really close feeling to him. Not only after so many years, but I think first moment when I met him, or when I had an opportunity to see him, I felt extremely close to him, and so happy and so thrilled, and which logically it's not believable, because such a small baby fall in love or something like that with a very elderly kind of person and strangers. As a matter of fact, I was nourished by Tukse Rinpoche himself, and educated under his guidance. But of course, I do have traditional tutors who were teaching me the scripts and different sorts of philosophies and writings and memories, memorizing books and all these things. We have a lot of books to memorize, which is, I don't know whether it's very, very helpful or not, but anyway, it was very tough, and we had to do this for many, many, many years. So I had many tutors of different sorts of on different sorts of things to learn and to study. But of course, on overall, on top of everything, every tutors, I've been. He's a great he's a great. He's there to look after us, look after me, and he was buying me lots of toys, fond of buying me momos and all these different things to eat, and all sorts of things. He's very kind, unbelievably kind. But obviously, sometimes he himself does not really have a lot of opportunities that he wanted to do. For example, he wanted to take me to many places, but some of his monks seems to be more powerful than him. So some monks can say, no, you cannot go because of some reason, this and that. And Rinpoche cannot really say anything. He just kept quiet.